we move to another subtopic under this, where we'll be looking at the different terminologies or the different types of cost in relevant costing. Actually, when talking about relevant costing, we have different types of costs that students are expected to be aware of. So, some costs are referred to as irrelevant, while some are referred to as relevant. So, we'll be looking at, in a very short glimpse of time, at these different costs that we could encounter under any exam condition that we are. The first type of cost is what we refer to as sunk or historical cost. Sunk cost, for example, okay, the definition of sunk cost is sunk cost. These are costs which are past or historical, which are not useful in taking economic decision. In other words, there are costs that have been incurred in the past. There are costs that have been incurred according to history. So, they are no more useful in taking economic or managerial decision. Because either or not the decision is taken, the costs have already been incurred and cannot be reversed. So, we are not going to be at any benefit or at any loss on account of this type of cost. In other words, the CIMA terminology, Chartered Institute of Management Accountant terminology, defines sunk cost as cost that has been irreversibly incurred or committed and cannot therefore be considered relevant to a decision. So in other words, we say such type of costs are irrelevant. For example, if a question says a machinery that have been purchased 10 years ago at the tune of 1 million naira in Nigerian denomination, is it useful in making a decision whether to produce a product Z in 10 years later? It's not useful because the machinery had already been acquired in the past and the cost had already been incurred. So, either or not we produce product Z, we have already incurred the cost. These are what we refer to as sunk or past cost or historical cost. Another form of cost that we're going to encounter under relevant costing approach is what we refer to as opportunity cost. What are opportunity costs? Opportunity costs are value of benefit forgone. A value of benefit forgone in favor of taking alternative course of action. We are still going to remember in economics, opportunity cost is also referred to as alternative forgone. This is one of the basic 5 concepts in economics. We're talking about scale of preference, opportunity cost, choice, wants, and needs. Opportunity cost is one of the basic concepts in economics. So, it also applies under relevant costing. The value of the benefits that we have to sacrifice as a result of taking another or alternative course of action. For example, illustration wise, in producing product Z, for every 1 unit of product Z produced, there will be a loss of contribution from product Y to the tune of 5 naira per unit. Now listen. Given that the variable cost of producing a unit of product Z is 10 naira, a customer quotes an order to buy 5,000 units. Literally, the relevant cost in that approach will have been the variable cost per unit of 5 naira multiplied, of 10 naira multiplied by 5,000 units, which is going to be 50,000 naira. But if the question goes further and says that product Z is going to be produced using the same machine used to produce product Y, and given that there is no spare capacity, we need to stop the production of product Y during the period when product Z is being produced. Now, if product Y yields a contribution of 5 naira per unit, it means for the time period in which product Z will be produced, definitely product Y will not be produced, leading us to lose a contribution of 5 naira from product Y. So when computing the cost per unit of product Z, it will not only be the variable cost of 10 naira per unit. No, it will also include the 5 naira per unit contribution lost from product Y. So this is what we refer to as opportunity cost. That is the value 5 naira of benefit forgone, contribution forgone, contribution lost, contribution sacrifice, value sacrifice as a result of taking an alternative course of action. Other terminologies in relevant costing include committed costs. Actually, committed costs are costs that have been pledged to incur in the past and therefore are not relevant for future decision, because either we take the future decision or not, we are under obligation to fulfill the pledge. So we are under obligation to incur the cost. It's just like a sunk cost, but it's just that it's not yet incurred. But the firm is fully obliged to incur the cost. So such type of cost is irrelevant because either or not we make the decision, we'll have to incur it. So committed cost is another terminology we can come across in relevant costing questions. Another form of costing include differential cost. This is relevant, and incremental cost. This is also a relevant cost. So I believe we've been able to learn a lot in this section of relevant costing and relevant revenue principle. Watch out for the last series on this episode, where we'll be looking at the practical applications of marginal costing, make or buy decision, acceptance or rejection of special order, shutdown decision, one-off contract, and so on and so forth.